Hello, I'm Karina.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is the brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge.
Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies to famous dead people. We're here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone.
This week on As Told by ADHD, we answer the burning questions that tend to keep you up at night. Like how things got their names. Like, how did Snickers get its name? Or the word silhouette, where did that come from?
Depression, anxiety, a book,
Dr. Pepper. A book.
a book.
A book.
I'm on one today.
Oh my god.
And I am burning up. My house has no AC right now, and nobody can come until tomorrow. I'm sad.
And she's glowing, and I promise it's not from sweat.
Oh, it definitely is. It's definitely from sweat. Not okay.
That was a good
Evens
win.
or odds?
Evens.
It's a 5. That's crazy.
That's actually wild.
Here we are.
And get it, Jamie.
So, your girl does a lot of research. This is going to be a 2-parter. I'm going to have a really long story today. Hope you're in for a ride. What? Not okay. Hope you enjoy the ride. Hope you're in for one. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Cringe.
Hey. That's just my personality.
I hope you're in for a ride.
Unwell. Okay. So,
Okay.
I'm going to go a little abstract today for our listeners out there who don't know what I'm doing. Karina, let me ask you something.
What? What is it?
Have you ever heard of someone falling in love with their kidnapper?
No. Stockholm Syndrome?
Stockholm Syndrome.
There's a psychological story behind this?
There's a psychological story, and it's crazy.
My mind is already blown.
Where's the Emmy for my friend? Who's got the Emmy?
Thank you.
She deserves her
Thank
Emmy.
you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, most of us have heard the term Stockholm Syndrome, right?
Right.
And not a lot of people know the story behind it. Do you know the story behind it?
I don't. I know nothing about it.
We got like this much into it before the technical
did.
difficulties started. So she really doesn't. She really doesn't.
I really don't. All I know is that it was kind of in the hippy dippy era. That's all I know. Like 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And she didn't tell me that. I knew that because I'm a smart cookie.
Yeah. She, for some reason, knew that.
But I didn't know Stockholm. I don't know.
Well, okay. I feel like not a lot of people have heard this story outside of like Europe.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go ahead and talk about the Normanstrøy bank robbery.
A robbery.
Mm.
We're celebrating a robbery, y'all.
We're not. We are not celebrating a robbery. That's not what's happening. I know I look like that, but I promise that is not. I can't. Okay. August 23rd, 1973. We are in Stockholm, Sweden at Creditbanken.
Creditbanken? We've got to go to the Creditbanken?
I can't believe this. Okay. So, the day started as usual, and the workers opened up the bank, and about 10 a.m., people were coming and going, as you do on a nice weekday with the bank, right? And then a man enters, and he's wearing a wig. He's wearing makeup, and he's wearing sunglasses, right? And these are like big old sunglasses, right?
Oh my gosh, big ol'
sunglasses. I'll put a picture here. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I probably will. Anyway, so he walks in and he's waiting in line for a little bit, watches people come and go. There's about 10 people in the room with him. And then he pulls a gun out of his jacket and starts shooting the ceiling. Right? Because he wanted people's attention, right?
That's the way to do it. Mess
Uh,
with the infrastructure of the whole building, you know?
Well, guns aren't going to take that I mean, bullets aren't going to take that building down. Like,
Okay.
it is a bank, after all. Anyway, so he wanted everyone to know he was dangerous, right? He was like, I'm dangerous, and what?
Pew pew!
Pew, pew, pew! I'm really dangerous. Sorry. Okay. This is serious, Karina. This is so serious. So, he wanted everyone to know he was dangerous. And when he shot up into the air, everybody got down on the ground except one person. This is Kristen and Mark. And she, in that moment, like she described it later, like she was petrified. She could not move. And she's going to be very important later. So we'll get back to her. And she also would later say that it was like nameless dread. And like she couldn't think and she was like in disbelief. And as everybody's getting down on the ground, eventually she gets down too, and this man, whose name is Jan Olsen, he goes around and starts tying everybody up, right? Well, not everybody. I think, because like, this part was kind of confusing to me in my research because there was some, like, he specifically said in a documentary I watched that there were 10 people in the room with him. And then Kristen said that there were some people who ran away and then some people he let go. But they all said that it was such a blur that they don't remember exactly what happened.
Yeah, bullets were flying.
Literally, right? At this point, there are 4 hostages tied up, which we'll get into that later. There's like an announcement later on TV of who the hostages are and how they got there, blah, 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 blah. Right. So, this man, Jan Olsen, picks up the phone and he's like, yo, police, I want $3 million and a man named Clark Olofsson. I bet you're wondering who Clark Olofsson is.
Tell me, girl. I can't wait no longer. Tell me.
I'll tell you right now who Clark Olofsson is.
Who is Olofsson?
Clark Olofsson at the time was this charismatic career criminal. He was a household name. He was like the same vibe as like Billy the Kid. Like, he was very well known, and his name kind of struck fear in people, but like he was kind of, like he was kind of like
cute?
He was
That's
kind
kinda
of
cute.
He was kind of cute, like, and like he's not my type, but like I get it. Like I saw pictures of him in that time period, and I get it. Like
Okay. Okay.
I bet you're wondering how, or even if, Jan Olsen knew Clark Olofsson. Jan and Clark met each other in prison, and Jan described himself as a safecracker. And that's so he went to prison for like bank robberies that he attempted in the past, which like it clearly didn't go well the first time. So why are you doing this anyway?
He has to prove something. It's
Right.
that ego.
And he was often described by multiple people as impulsive and intense. So not a good mix for someone who's trying to rob a bank, right?
Fair.
And Clark, he met in prison, and he was super charismatic and very manipulative. And like
Love
most,
that.
yeah. And most people really liked talking with him, especially Jan. So he would come to his room every night and he would be like, hey, what's up? Tell me some stories. The funny part is the way they described each other, complete opposite. Like, I don't know where the truth lies. So Clark says that Jan was known as a chicken thief. Those were his exact words. A chicken thief. And he
chicken
did
thief.
small crimes, right? And Clark called Jan boring and claimed that Jan was extremely interested in hearing about Clark's crimes, especially bank robberies that he was a part of. Clark claims that they had no plans together. I don't know if this is true or not because, again, he is charismatic and manipulative. So take everything he says with a grain of salt. Jan said that Clark talked too much.
Oh my gosh, no.
And that he was a very smooth talker. And he claims that they had made a plan together. Now, I'm sure the truth lies somewhere in the middle, right? It always does. Clark and Jan, they have very conflicting stories, right? And Jan actually escaped prison like right before, like a few days before this happened, right? So he was out, I think it's called furlough, where
That sounds about right.
you, like, if you're in prison and you're not convicted for, like, and this is like, it's not everywhere, but I know here in the US it's like that. When you're in prison and you're not convicted of a violent crime, then you get to go out on a furlough and you get to basically like work a 9-to-5 job and then come back. But Jan was like, I'm out. Bye, bitches. Right? Because he wanted to go rob a bank. That's what he wanted to do.
Homie was inspired.
And I guess he really thought that they had plans together, but here we are.
So were they both on furlough? Or just...
No, so at this time, just Jan was on furlough. But Clark had escaped before many times because he's been in and out of prison for like ever.
So he was like, he'll get out and then we'll meet and then we'll do this job and like everything's good.
I think, because like it really sounded like Clark did not like Jan, but he was just talking because he liked to hear the sound of his own voice, you know?
True.
And so I think that Jan genuinely thought they made plans. And Clark was like, we're just shooting the shit. Like, we're not actually going to do anything. I think that's what happened.
Okay.
If I had to like meet their stories in the middle, that's where I would meet it.
Okay.
Like, I think they might both be telling the truth, but I don't know.
Fair.
Anyway, so the Minister of Justice actually called the prison as soon as this started happening, and he was like, I want to talk to Clark. And like, that's crazy, because like the Minister of Justice in Sweden at the time is like really high-ranked official. And
Yeah, but Sweden is also kind of tiny, isn't it? Like, is it a smaller country?
I wouldn't say it's the smallest country.
Not smallest, but like smaller. It
right.
was like tinier.
I mean, as far as Europe standards go, I feel like it's pretty average size for Europe countries, but I could
Okay.
be really wrong. I'm very bad with geography a lot of the time. But like, I don't think it's like a super small country.
Okay.
Anyway, regardless, like this is like huge that the Minister of Justice is calling him, and he's like, hey, this guy at this bank, he wants you to come to the bank. Now, he's got 4 hostages, and we need you to go in there, and we will dismiss your charges that you're currently serving if you are able to get in there and stop this from happening. And if the guy dies, then we won't be mad about it. Like if he were to die, you know, like it'd be pretty cool, and you would be exonerated, of course. Like we wouldn't let you go to prison for doing that to somebody who's hurting people. That's crazy. It's for your country.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
They turned him into a Fed.
Well, if I was the Minister of Justice, I would not be asking any criminals that are currently locked up to help, because yeah, they want their freedom, but they are showing with their actions that they do not respect authority. Therefore, they will not respect me. What the fuck?
Yeah. No, I have to agree with that. Like, that's like literally why they're there. That's why any criminal is where they are, because like maybe like the 0.01% were wrong place, wrong time, wrong situation. Everyone else is just like, I don't care.
Exactly.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm doing this. I got to survive or whatever.
Exactly.
Or I have these urges or whatever.
Yeah. So, that being said, especially because, like, with specifically Clark Olofsson, he was prolific in that time period. Like, everybody knew he hated the feds, which, like, they aren't the feds there, but, like, he hated police. He hated authority.
He hated authority, yeah.
Yeah, like, everybody knew it. Even, like, so later, Kristen was interviewed, and she was in this documentary that I was watching with them, and she was like, the moment that Jan called the police and asked specifically for Clark Olofsson, she was like, I knew exactly who that was, and I was like, I'm gonna die, because there's gonna be 2 gangsters here. There's gonna be, like, 2 people who don't care about me or my life. So she genuinely thought, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, right?
Mm.
And that's scary.
It
Anyway,
is.
so Clark arrived at the bank, and he said, which I think this is him talking out of his ass, he was like, if I would have known that it was that idiot, I would have beat him up the second I got in there. But he didn't, because he said that he wasn't told who it was, but the likelihood that somebody in such a high position would be like, hey, this guy's asking for you. He has a criminal record too. You serve together. Do you know him? Like, I feel like that would be one of the first questions you ask, especially if like they were just serving at the same time. They were just days before in the same prison. So, like, that's crazy. I don't know. He was like, if I would have known it was that idiot, crazy.
All talk,
right?
All talk.
So when he first got there, he walked in and he went straight for the hostages, or he claims that he went straight for the hostages. And he was like, I'm going to untie these hostages. So he starts untying them. He was like, you got to treat them right, because in the end, they're helping you out. Right? As like hostages. Like,
oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Like, okay.
Like,
yeah.
Like, they are the reason why you are not being arrested right this second.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
One starts to, like, chill out. Because, like, before, high energy. He was, like, freaking out. He was like, I'm going to get this money. Blah, 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 blah. That's how I imagine it.
I'm gonna get this money. That is a class A robber right there. Class A. Class A.
I
That man is rich.
I don't know why I did that. God, it's so hot in here.
I think that he's getting to your head a little
I
bit.
think it is.
Oh.
Anyway, so Jan starts to like come down from his adrenaline high from like starting this bank robbery, and like Clark starts to show the hostages even more kindness. So then Jan kind of takes his lead and is like, okay, we can be nice to these people. Like, they're not gonna hurt us. Like, they aren't the police, so like it's okay. Clark even came in and gave them a phone so they could call their loved ones and be like, hey, I'm not gonna make it home tonight.
They had to threaten him. They had to threaten him. Like, call him or else we kill you. And just tell him that you're not going to be home tonight.
No, because listening to like the way Kristen and Mark described it later on, she genuinely was like, Clark saved my life. Like, he was very nice the second he stepped in. Like, he's like, I don't think I would be here if it wasn't for him. So I genuinely think that he came in and was like, their families are probably worried about him, about all of these people. That one has kids because they had been talking a little bit at that point. And so they were like, okay, we're just gonna let them call their families, blah, blah, blah. Now, what would you be thinking in this situation that I've described to you? So, like, at first you're freaked out because there's a guy with a gun and he's trying to rob the bank, and like you're freaking out, and then they call another guy who's a known gangster. He comes in and he's really nice, and he even lets you call your family. Like, what do you think?
I think I would still be in like fight or flight almost, like thinking about like, because at the end of the day, someone is still walking around and being dangerous, even though one person's being nice. So I think I would still be trying to like figure out how to stay calm and get out of there. I think I'd be a lot more calm because there's not like hecticness and chaos happening, but
Okay.
I think I would still be in like, I need to get out of here. Still like really scared.
Right.
What about you?
In this situation, I think I would try to manipulate the one that's being nice. Like, I think that like I would start being very overly nice, and like, and maybe this is just like me watching too much true crime, but like I would be like, I'd try to start to pit them against each other.
Fair.
So like it starts to crumble, but like not in an obvious way, in a way that like they don't realize that I'm doing it, you know? So that's what I would try to do, but also I don't know because I'm not in that situation and I've never been in that situation.
True.
So a policeman entered somehow as like they were like kind of like getting to know each other a little bit, and Jan saw him try to sneak up and he shot him in the hand. So he retreated, right?
Right.
And Clark later was like, how could this guy be so stupid to like shoot at this guy in this situation? Like, this whole situation is so dumb. Like, he was so idiotic through all of it. And like, to be fair, Clark wasn't wrong. Because like, for you to go up to a bank with really no plan other than, I just got to get my friend here. Like, that's the only plan he had. He had no means of escaping. He had no means of, like actually getting the money, you know? So it was just, I don't know, crazy. And I agree with Clark. Jan, dumb in this situation.
Jan equal dumb.
So later that night, the police would make contact via phone call, right? Jan expressed to the cops that pointing their guns at him and the hostages were playing with his nerves. And that was the phrase he used in the interview that I saw. They were playing with his nerves, and he wasn't sure what he would do. and he thought he might shoot the police if they keep pointing their
So
guns.
one was very calm and one was very agitated and stressed out.
Right.
That's why I would be terrified.
Right.
Case closed.
I would very much be like cozying up to the one that's not.
Yeah,
For-
to the good cop, for sure.
Yeah. And then he had brought a bunch of dynamite into the bank to try to open the vault. And so he kept like setting off dynamite at random times trying to open like the big vault. Because like there was like a vault, and then there was like inside the vault, from what I understand, there was like a door that had the money in it. So like there was like a vault with lock boxes.
No, my mind is blown that the police were outside hearing bombs go off and they got hostages.
Yeah. Well, that being said, in this specific time, it was pretty politically divisive in this time, from what I understand. Like, I'm not an expert in Swedish politics by any means, but the guy who was the current, like, prime minister, he was very set on having Sweden have this peaceful view of Sweden, where, like,
Okay.
no violence happens there. And I'm not sure what the reason was, but like he was very concerned with how other countries saw him and saw the country itself. So
Okay.
that's why there wasn't a ton of violence in the rescuing of these hostages. And then that night, there was an announcement on the television that said 4 hostages were taken. Elizabeth Olgren, she was a 21-year-old bank employee. There was Kristen and Mark, another bank employee, 23. Brigida Lundblad, bank employee, 31 years old, and a mother of 2. And Sven Savstrom. And I don't have his age because I forgot to write it down. So at this point, now the nation knows that there are 4 hostages in this bank, right? August 24th, 1973, the next day, the chief constable announced that they are doing their best to get the captives free. In the meantime, they're doing their best to, like, keep contact with the people inside and also sending things in for the hostages, like sodas, coffees, cigarettes, food, just anything that they think would make the hostages more comfortable. But at the same time, they were given the same things to the bank robber. And at this point, the police thought that they were in cahoots with Clark. And Clark...
I mean, I get it because, like, this is a very strange scenario. Like, you're sitting here thinking, like, okay, nobody is screaming. Like, there's bombs going off. I mean, these guys are chilling and they're just requesting, like, cigarettes and snacks. Like, they're just having the grand old time, like, trying to figure out together how to break open this bank. Yeah.
Right. And they were still trying to figure out the $3 million situation because they were trying to, like, get that money to have it available. They weren't planning on letting them take it, but they were definitely planning on having it. So the police thought that they were in cahoots with Clark. And Clark, I don't think, by my interpretation of his description of it, I don't think he knew what side he was on yet. Like, he was making calculated decisions of, like, what's going to be best for me. Like, you know what I mean? And, like, he didn't specifically say that, but that's just what I got from his demeanor in telling the story.
Right.
And then they bring in Dr. Niels Berjot. I'm going to put the spelling right here. This is his name. They brought in this doctor right here. This doctor. They brought him in. He was a Swedish psychiatrist and criminologist at this time. He was very well known for his, like, conservative views on
Mhm.
drugs, his conservative views on, like, culture in general, right?
Okay.
And the police brought him in as a consultant to assess the psychological state of the hostages and guide the negotiation strategies.
Okay.
He never directly talked to anyone. Instead, he just watched live surveillance feeds and he read the reports. And later, he will be very important.
Okay.
So we're going to come back to that. Remember that name? Here it is. He told the police that Jan was in an unpredictable state and he seemed like he was ready for anything, which made him very dangerous, which, like, not wrong. Jan really seemed like he was, like, kind of unstable, right?
I get it.
So, do you remember when earlier I said that Clark was very, very good at manipulation?
Yes.
Well, when he arrived, he started treating the captives very well. Like, and like the way they described it is like they felt like they were being treated like humans by Clark. Whereas at first with Jan, they didn't feel like that. So I don't think he would ever admit it, but he was feeding into Jan's behavior, being like, yeah, the police, they suck. And like that was keeping him calm. So honestly, like from the interviews I watched and the reports I read, it really seemed like Clark was the reason why this didn't escalate.
Okay.
And he would actually start negotiating with the police for Jan, and he would make it seem like him and the police were on the same side, right? He'd be like, hey, this fucking guy, he's crazy.
Oh, I
right?
see now.
So he's playing both sides right now. And like I said, like the way he was describing it, it really sounded like he didn't really know which side he wanted to be on. Because, like, to be fair, he had two options. Go along with this guy's plan. Don't die. That's a pretty great option. Or switch sides, get your freedom if you survive.
Right.
So he had a very important choice to make for himself.
Pretty much.
And he mentioned like Jan is crazy, and he keeps and I'm keeping the hostages safe, so don't worry about him. I got him. Like, so he's like fully de-escalating the situation. And he was smart enough to know where the line was when asking for things. So he would never ask for anything too crazy, but he would like ask like, you know, these guys, we need this food, or we need this thing, or like, I don't know. It's like he was getting them fed really well because he was like,
Interesting.
yeah. So he's
How are these items like being delivered without like an ambush from the police? Do you know?
they would, if I remember correctly, I think they would send one of the girls out to get the things to bring it back in. Right.
Wild.
Mm-hmm. There was another point, and this is why I'm not sure if Clark knew what side he wanted to be on. Because, like, when I heard the part where he was like, this guy's crazy, like, I was like, oh, he's just doing this to, like, survive, right?
Right.
But then he spotted a sniper on the roof across the street, and he warned Jan, and he was like, hey, there's a sniper up there. Which makes me think, like, oh, he's not on the police's side. But I don't know.
At the same time, it's like he would take all the heat if Jan was dead.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what that would be like.
I don't know.
Because, like, I think at that time, like, this was such a huge story, it kind of made Sweden look really bad. And,
Yeah.
like, I don't
I'm
know.
questioning the police force so bad right now.
Oh.
Like, honestly.
Just wait.
Oh.
So, he warned him about the sniper, and it started building trust and rapport with Jan and the hostages, because he's like, I can't believe that, like, they would point these snipers at all of us, especially when the hostages are right here. They could miss and hit these hostages. I'm protecting you, right?
Oh my gosh.
So, again, he's really good at manipulating, and I'm not gonna lie, I might have fallen for this. Like, I think that if I were in this situation and, like, I see these people as a threat, but then this guy comes in and he's really nice and he keeps de-escalating the situation with the other guy. And then the police are also pointing guns at us. And he's like, look, they don't care about you. I
Right.
might believe him. Like, and that's the crazy part.
Yeah.
And so at this point, he was like, the cops really don't care about you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in the vault. And we're going to go hide in there because we can't trust the police. So they go in the vault. And at some point, Elizabeth Olgren tells Jan that she needs to use the bathroom. And he's like, no, there's a bucket right over there. She's like, no, I really need to go to the restroom outside. And he's like, I don't know. I don't trust it. And at this point, as like they're getting comfortable in the vault, the police have moved into the bank. Right? And so they're outside the vault waiting to figure out how to get these people out.
Right.
So the door opens and he lets Elizabeth out to go to the bathroom. And he's like, if you don't come back, this girl's getting a bullet in the head. She comes back. No question. She could have ran. She had 2 kids.
Right.
And a husband. But she didn't. She came back. But I feel like that shows more of her empathy and care for her coworkers, because they all worked at that bank. And she was like, I don't want
Right.
these people to die.
Right.
At least that's how I interpret it. Like, from the way that Jan and Clark told it later, it sounded like they believed they came back, or she came back for them. But this is a woman who has 2 children. She's 31, and the youngest person in the vault is 21. Like, she's probably feeling very maternal over these girls and Sven.
Right.
Anyway, so she comes back, and they said that the police were trying to, like, pull her out and be like, no, you can't go back in there. And she was like, no, I'm going in. He's going to kill them if I don't come back. So I'm going back in. They go back in. And then around, like, midday, I think the bag of money that they had been, like, securing for this specific purpose, they brought it to the bank. So with $3 million, they had it at the bank and they were waiting, right? And then the men used Kristen and was like, hey, we want a car, right? And they were like, we want a car, we want a clean getaway, and we're taking 2 of the hostages. But they used one of the hostages to relay this information. And Kristen specifically was like, I would gladly go with them. I feel safer with them than with the police. So at this point, it's been like ingrained in them that the police don't care. They are willing to kill you to get us. So the best thing to do is stick with us. So it becomes a you against them situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
The car was delivered out front of the bank. Snipers were put on the roof. And Jan was like, okay, it's here, let's go. And Clark was like, are you dumb? The second you walk out, they're going to shoot you.
Yes.
The second you walk out, they're going to shoot me because they think that I'm a part of this now. And Jan was like, and he in the interview, he was like, he's such a right. I was like, what the fuck? Misogynistic asshole. Anyway.
Wow.
So he's like, we can get away. We have the car. We just got to go. And like, if you're Jan, maybe you're like, oh, they'll let us just leave. But Clark's smart. He's been around the block a few times. They're not just going to let you leave. They're not. That's just not how it works. Anyway, so at this point, the news were reporting snipers outside, and I think it ends up getting back to them, and they're like, because like the police were like, hey, the car's here. Come on, let's go. Get out. And they were like, absolutely not. And they cut contact with the police. The hostage that was in this interview that I watched, she was like, if the police were to leave the men alone that were in there, to leave Clark and Jan alone, then we were all friends. We were in there playing games like cards and like word games, and we were having a great time. But the second the police tried to intervene, that's when the guns got pointed at our head. That's when this would happen. That's when that would happen. Blah, 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 right? And so it just got like crazy. Like,
that's like the fastest form of brainwashing I think I've ever heard of.
Right. This is on day 2.
Yeah.
There are 6 days of this.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Clark and Jan are like, okay, we want one of you to call the like prime minister, and we want one of you to like demand that he let 4 of us go, right? So Kristen's like, I'll do it right now. She's already been talking with the police a bunch.
Okay.
And she gets on the phone, and she calls the place where the guy is. I don't know, the White House of Sweden. I don't know what that would be there. She calls the where he should be, and she's like, hey, I'm one of the hostages, and I would like to speak with the prime minister right now. They put her through almost immediately, and she's like, I'm very disappointed in you. And he goes, huh? Imagine for a second that you call the president of the United States and you're like, I'm so disappointed in you.
I feel like a lot of people right now want to call him and say they're very disappointed.
Correct. But imagine doing it and getting to talk to him directly. Right?
Dude.
Like, wild.
Yeah, imagine.
That's crazy. Okay. But anyway, she said that she had supported his party her entire life. She's always been a part of the party that he is associated with. And she told him, I want to leave with these 2 men, and me and Elizabeth, we want to go. We feel safer with them. We're not afraid of them. We're afraid of your police. They are the problem, not these guys. All the while, this doctor is watching all of this, listening to all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she is like, let us go. They were clearly trying to hide something. There was a 45-minute phone call, and only 2 minutes of it was released.
Wow.
Right. And later, Kristen and Mark states that he should come into the bank. If he were to come into the bank, he would let all of us go. These guys would let all of us go. And we could be free, and you could do that for us. And he's like, well, wouldn't it feel good for you to die for your country? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? How you feeling right now?
Mm-hmm. I'm too scared to go into that bank. So how about instead, from my cozy little desk, I write you down in history as a hero who died for Sweden, because I'm too scared to get up from my cozy little chair in my very secured room with hundreds, if not more, bodyguards and soldiers surrounding me.
Instead, we'll let these 4 bank employees die. That's a good solution. If they die, we can just get them and take them to jail. It's fine. And here we are.
If you die, we won't have any hostages, and then my policemen won't be scared to go into that bank vault and get them.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys will be dead. They don't have to save anybody. They can just pew-pew them, and that's that. Save your country. What?
Exactly. So here we are, August 25th, 1973, day 3. Negotiations had been suspended. 1 or 2 of the women started menstruating. And so Clark went to the police and was like, hey, we need products for these women. We need period products for these women. And police were like, no, we're not going to do that. Because at this point, I think everybody was just sick of everything that was happening. So Clark goes to them and is like, they don't care about you. They would rather let you sit in here and bleed than them give you any menstrual products. So this is just causing more and more and more tension between.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy. And it became us against them. We are now all together. We are a unit. And we are against them now. And at this point, Jan started to trust Clark to take the gun. And the girls would even take turns guarding the door.
Well, yeah, because they've been out there and nobody's tried to save them. They know the police are in the bank.
Mm-hmm.
They've walked to go use the bathroom, literally talked to the police, and they're just probably sitting out there literally twiddling their thumbs.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So Clark starts to do his master manipulation, right? At first, he goes to the police and he's like, hey, I'm about to send one of these girls to ask you for something. Tell her no. And tell her that you only want to talk to me. So then he goes back and sends one of the girls. And the girl's like, hey, can we have this thing? And they're like, no, we only want to talk to Clark.
Why would the
At this point, I mean, to be fair, I think the police still think that Clark is on their side. Not knowing that he's sitting there puppeteering this whole shebang.
I just, I don't understand because, he was told to kill Jan. He was told to.
Not
Very
explicitly.
under the table. You didn't know it was under the table, but still, he was just
like, if
if
it
something were to
happened,
happen to him, I wouldn't be mad.
Right.
They're on day 3, being in close proximity. I'm sure the police know that, the gun's being passed around. He's not holding it for 3 days straight. He's had his opportunity to,
But here we are. Day 3, and he's still manipulating everybody. And this made the girl that he sent, I think it was Kristen, this made Kristen angry at the police. She was like, they genuinely don't care about us. And it's very obvious, and they just want to talk to you, and I don't understand why. They could just help us, and they're not. So this made Kristen and Clark really start to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the point where Clark became the main source of contact for everyone because he wanted control and he got it. So here we are on day 4. The police have locked the vault from the outside. Clark came up with an idea of letting a shot, shooting the gun once, and they would have to open the door to see who got hurt. Or they could think that somebody finally killed Jan. He was like, they'll open the door if we let out a shot, right? And Clark was like, we'll just shoot in the corner and it's fine. And Jan was like, no, we're gonna do this, but I'm actually gonna shoot someone. And he's like, what the fuck? And so then Jan goes over to Sven and is like, I can't shoot any of these girls, so let me shoot you in the leg. And he's like, I don't think that I want to do that. Please don't make me do that. And Kristen was like, it's just the leg. Just let him shoot you. And later, Kristen was like, I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I started behaving the way I did. I was at a loss of like, why? Like, it wasn't me. I mean, I said it. I did those things, but I didn't choose to do it. I just did it. And I don't understand why. And eventually Sven gave in and was like, okay, you can shoot me. But Jan was like, damn it, you're too nice. I can't shoot you. So all of that was for nothing. And then, this is still day 4, Jan started having an affair with Brigitte Lundblad, the mom of 2.
Oh my gosh. In the vault with everybody?
Well, it was kind of, so I saw pictures of it, and I'm not 100% sure what it, like, the full scope of it, but it looked like it was like a multiple room vault.
Okay.
Like,
But still, come on.
right. And then so Jan, after they start having an affair, Jan goes to Clark and is like, guess what I did? And tells him what happened. And Clark's like, are you an idiot? She can say, like, was it consensual? Because she can say it wasn't. Are you dumb? And he was like, it's fine. She wanted it. Blah, blah, blah. That dumb shit. And then Clark goes to Brigitte and is like, did he make you do something? And she was like, no, I wanted to. But we don't know what happened behind the closed door that they had an affair in. We don't know if he bargained her freedom with sex. We don't know if she bargained sex for her freedom. We don't know if it was coerced. We don't know if it's, like, we don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, and we know that tensions were high in there, so.
Right. And Kristen later would be like, I'm positive she wouldn't have done that without having something in return. Like, not saying like she's manipulative, but being like, I don't think that she would have willingly had sex with him if she didn't think that she was going to be free.
Okay.
So that's what Kristen said. That's all alleged. We don't know for sure, right?
Right.
Day 5. The police start drilling a hole in the ceiling of the vault. And so Jan made Kristen and Elizabeth lie under where they were drilling the hole. And the vault is like 5 feet of concrete, or I guess like 3 to 5 feet of concrete. Like, so as they're drilling the hole, concrete is going to start falling. And it's like this, it was like a hole this big, right? And he made them lie under it. And he was like, you guys better stop or you're going to kill them. You'll be responsible for their death. And then they didn't stop, which made them feel like the police didn't care about them still. And eventually Clark was like when he saw it was about to fall and they were about to break through, he was like, girls, come here. I'm not letting this happen to you. So that's even more like they're connecting. Like, Clark's trying to protect these girls. Jan starts to fight back with dynamite. He like would try to throw dynamite up there. And he also would shoot in the hole that they drilled.
How many bullets did this man have?
I don't
Oh my
know.
gosh.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
6 days worth of bullets. Oh my gosh.
Right. So he shoots up and it goes through the hand of one of the people drilling, or who just finished drilling, and through the skull. But the guy survives. Yeah. Crazy.
Wow. No tangents. Focus. Okay, go.
No, I want a tangent. Where are you going?
I just want to know how he survived. If it went through his head,
well, I think it just kind of the way he described it, it was like kind of grazed it, but it didn't like get anything serious.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So at this point, when he shot up, the girls started yelling and cheering and shouting, "We got one! We got one!" Because at this point, they are convinced the police do not care about them at all. And then the police put cameras down into the hole, and I'll put pictures on the screen of what they look like, because they took pictures of these people to see what was going on. They took pictures of the whole thing. They started to plan to put gas into the vault, and Jan was like, absolutely not. You're not doing that. So he made little nooses and hung them on the like the lock boxes in the vault, and he made them all stand there. And he said, if you guys put gas down here, then they'll pass out and they'll all die, and that will be on your hands. So it made them stop. Then day 6 comes around. The police gas the vault with tear gas. Jan makes everybody stand up, and the hostages genuinely thought they were about to die. And he even was like, I'm going to kill you now so you don't have to live through this. So he was about to shoot all of them. And then eventually he ended up letting them go, and they gave up. And this was the end of the standoff.
Is it because he was attached to them? He was attached, he couldn't do it?
Well,
or...
I'm not 100% sure. He didn't explain why. But I'm pretty sure Clark probably had something to do with it. Clark genuinely seemed like he hated the police so much, but he cared about these people that were in this vault with him for 6 days. Because I don't think he wanted to be there. Right. Who would want to be there? Shitting in a bucket? No. People started escorting them out. It was policemen in gas masks, and they exited the building, and there's videos of it, and there's dogs barking and people cheering as Jan and Clark exit the building. Jan was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Clark was acquitted after the state had implicated him in the case. So the state was like, you're responsible for this too. But he ended up, the charges ended up being dismissed because the police took him there. Because the police took him there. He didn't want to be there.
He was a vet.
Kristen was later taken to the hospital that day. And she specifically was like, I'm not getting on the gurney and I'm not, you're not rolling me out of here. And they're like, no, we have to. She got in the gurney, but she sat up and she was like, I'm not going to lay down. Kind of in defiance, because she was mad.
I mean,
I would be too after 6 days.
6 days, and she's completely brainwashed at this point,
Mm-hmm. And she was taken to the hospital, and she would wake up in the middle of the night when she was in the hospital, and she'd be screaming and sweating, and the only way for her to go back to sleep was if she were to hold the hand of the nurse.
So she was showing signs of trauma, even though she thought that she was okay while in there?
Yeah.
Was the trauma police related or the robbers related?
I think it's all related, because she thought she was going to die from both sides.
True.
True. Soon after, Dr. Niels, he started using the phrase Nomenstrøy syndromet, which translates to the Nomenstrøy syndrome, which eventually became Stockholm Syndrome. Because Nomenstrøy was the square that it was in. It was kind of what's a good example? It's like Times Square.
Okay.
But in Stockholm.
Right.
So it'd be the Times Square syndrome versus,
Right.
So that's what it was. And then it later transformed into Stockholm Syndrome. And he would diagnose Kristen with Stockholm Syndrome despite never have had met her. Which is crazy, because you shouldn't do that.
That is crazy. Yeah.
She would often keep in touch with the men. She would visit them in prison, especially Clark. And later, she would eventually start a relationship with Clark.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't think it went for too long. Because she ended up getting married and having children with someone else. But she kept in touch with him throughout their entire adult life. And he even met her children. And there's pictures of him with her son. And
she probably understands, like, she was put through, like, manipulation and, like, all this
Mhm.
kind of stuff. She just doesn't care.
No, I think it's more than just that. Because she later was like, I wholeheartedly believe that Clark saved my life. I would not be here if Clark had not been in that vault with us. Jan would have killed us, if not the police. So she still has a very strong distrust of the police, which, like, who wouldn't in that situation? Especially
They were
if
literally just chilling.
the prime minister was like, don't you want to die for your country? You know, like, that's crazy. And over the next 30 years, she would constantly feel like she had done something wrong when she was just there.
That's so sad.
And just to kind of briefly go over, like, what my thoughts of Stockholm Syndrome is and how it has come to be and what it is today. I don't think Stockholm Syndrome should be or is a real diagnosis, because I believe that it lacks scientific evidence of diagnosis criteria. Because, like, if you think of other mental illnesses or disorders, you think there's always, like, a set of things you can follow. With, let's use ADHD, for example. Hi, as told by ADHD. Often they can be easily distracted. They can be chaotically organized. They can be
Extremely hyperactive.
exactly. So, like, there's, like, a criteria that you can diagnose. But with Stockholm Syndrome, the only thing that you can truly diagnose is they're trying to survive. So, I don't know. I also think it's very victim blamey, especially when it comes to women, because it's often used to describe female hostages or abuse victims or women in coercive relationships. And it honestly feels like it's rooted in, like, sexism in the way that women should or shouldn't behave in these situations. Like, women should be scared and they should be like, cowering in fear. But, like,
And even though they're not physically trying, like, I mean, a lot of situations they are physically trying to fight their ways away, but
in a
some
different
people just
way.
kind of gauge the what's happening differently, and they think
Mhm.
a calmer approach is the way for them to stay alive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, statistically, it's proven that if you are in a situation where you are being held captive, you are more likely to be released and let go if you befriend your captor.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I see it as a way that we have evolved with our behavior in how we are trying to survive. So that's how I see it.
I can see,
Um,
yeah.
and I really think that it, like, confuses trauma bonding with a syndrome. Like, if you look at the facts of this specific case. Like, yes, Clark was super manipulative, but from the evidence, it really seems like he de-escalated the situation a lot. And like, I kind of believe Kristen when she says he saved her. If he
Right.
hadn't been there, she would not be alive.
Yeah, because the other had extreme, like, erratic behavior, yeah.
Right. That's just how I feel about it. I don't feel
I
like
agree.
it's...
No, I think I agree. Like, if it was something that was studied a lot more broadly, that, like, because just because these people are put through traumatic events, but, like, a kidnapped victim was, like, all they know is wake up, bad things happen if XYZ, or things are less bad if this XYZ. Like, our brain instinctively tries to keep us alive. And that looks a number of ways when you're in XYZ situations. That's why like forensics or behavioral specialists and stuff like that, they can say, hey, this is what generally will happen in these types of situations, because there's that pattern that happens. But you don't really see that with Stockholm Syndrome, especially in the sense of, like, I believe, he wasn't going to hurt me, or I believe that, we're in love, or I believe, like, it's way too broad that they put Stockholm, like, under.
Right.
It's way too broad. Way, way, way too broad.
Oh, yeah. I fully agree.
Yeah, so that's why I agree with you.
Yeah. So that's how Stockholm Syndrome got its name. And that's why I think it's not real.
And that's it.
That's it, folks.
And that's that.
So that was a little heavy.
It was. But don't worry, when we come back for part 2, it'll be a lot lighter and pretty funny, and definitely not as long. But
sorry about that.
my mind was blown. Like,
with this
that
or
was
with yours?
insane. With yours.
Oh.
Like, even though it was long, like,
right.
What the heck?
And hopefully, like,
that
if
was a
you're
roller
like
coaster.
listening to this, you can either like fall asleep to it. If you think that my voice is soothing,
I don't want to fall asleep talking about somebody being brainwashed.
Listen,
I
do it all the time.
And just like
not specifically brainwashed, but true crime. Anyway, or if you're like driving to work or driving home on your commute, like it'd be a nice long story for a good commute. Or if you just need some background noise as you're doing your hobbies, I think that this would be a good episode. Okay. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Drink your water. Especially in the summertime, it's really hot. And
it is. It's really hot.
When your air conditioner breaks and then you don't drink enough water and then you go out and try to do things, then you could almost pass out.
She's talking from experience because it's been a rough couple days.
It has. But hopefully it's going to get fixed tomorrow.
But also, the water you drink today is the water that your body will use tomorrow. So don't think that, like, oh, I'm feeling dehydrated right now, let me drink water, it'll make me better. That's not the case. The water you drink today benefits you tomorrow. So drink your water.
If you're sweating, drink more water. If you're sweating more, drink even more water. And then drink more water after that, too.
Yep.
Don't dehydrate.
But don't drown yourself.
Yeah, don't do that.
Be careful. Listen to your body.
Yeah. But if you're sweating a lot because your air conditioner doesn't work, drink more water.
And wear an ice pack.
Yeah. It's not cool anymore. Oh, it's hot. It's so hot here.
Anyway. Thing. Well, we'll see you for part 2. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks.
I don't know what's happening.
Bye, guys.